Hello friends. Imagine someone who's analytical yet instinctively loyal, modest but never mediocre, someone with a gentle soul that can also bite when crossed. This isn't a riddle, it's a Virgo born in the year of the dog. Two ancient systems collide here. The meticulous, order-loving Virgo from the Western Zodiac, and the devoted, justice-driven dog from the Chinese calendar. Together, they create a personality that's surprisingly layered, equal parts practical magic and principled grit. Let's unravel this cosmic hybrid and see what makes them tick in love, business, friendship, and beyond. Love. Virgo dogs are the epitome of love with intention. They don't fall in love. They step into it carefully, like testing the water before diving in. They analyze, observe, and assess long before they allow anyone into their emotional inner sanctum. Their hearts are like old castles, not impossible to enter, but you'll need patience, trust, and a steady hand to unlock the gates. Impulsive flings and whirlwind romances are not their scene. They find those exhausting and emotionally unsafe. What they want is stability, sincerity, and a love that grows slowly but lasts forever. Their affection is rooted in deep respect. They need to admire their partner's character before any physical connection can truly mean something. You'll find that Virgo dogs are less about chemistry and more about compatibility. They often find themselves drawn to people who are emotionally intelligent, consistent, and humble. Show-off types? Too much drama? That's a quick exit. Instead, what pulls them in is authenticity. The real you, no masks, no games. They're not easily swayed by appearances. They fall for someone's patterns, habits, and the quiet ways they treat others. And once they're in love, truly in love, they're in it with full commitment. There's a quiet intensity to their loyalty that can almost feel sacred. They don't just become partners, they become protectors, confidants, life planners. Expect thoughtful surprises, small acts of service, and a genuine desire to be useful to your happiness. They will remember the song you liked 3 months ago, buy that obscure book you mentioned once in passing, and offer solutions when you're overwhelmed. Their love language is practical magic, grounded in gestures that say, "I'm listening. I see you." However, this level of commitment means they're vulnerable, too. They don't love lightly, so if that trust is broken, the impact cuts deep. A Virgo dog betrayed feels as if their entire internal compass has been shattered. And they won't scream or beg, they'll retreat. With chilling precision, they will remove themselves from your life to protect their soul. There won't be a confrontation, just silence, cold, deliberate, and final. It's not pettiness, it's survival. Because once they've trusted you enough to let you into their heart, any betrayal becomes unforgivable. They are also deeply romantic, just in a quiet, non-flashy way. A candlelit dinner cooked at home means more to them than any overpriced restaurant. A handwritten note, a surprise weekend getaway to a quiet cabin, or even just a blanket fort movie night, these are the moments they treasure. Their idea of romance is emotional security. It's the feeling of being truly known and deeply accepted. They find beauty in the ordinary when it's shared with the right person. If you want fireworks and big declarations, look elsewhere. If you want a love that builds over time like an ancient oak, you're in the right place. Lastly, Virgo dogs often struggle with expressing what they feel, not because they don't care, but because their emotions run so deep, they fear they won't do them justice with words. They might hesitate before saying, "I love you," but they'll say it with every gesture. They are lovers who ask how your day was and actually care about the answer. They'll fix the leaky faucet, sit through your favorite movie for the 5th time, and check in just to make sure you got home safe. Their love is not a firework, it's a hearth, always burning, always warm, and always waiting for you to come home. Marriage. To a Virgo dog, marriage is not just a phase of life, it's a lifelong vocation. It's a deliberate, deeply considered decision made only after extensive reflection, observation, and emotional vetting. They approach marriage the way an architect approaches a blueprint, with thoughtfulness, foresight, and a clear vision for the future. They believe that if you're going to commit, you'd better build something solid, not a house of cards, but a fortress of mutual trust. That's why they often take longer than most to settle down. They're not afraid of commitment, they're afraid of committing to the wrong person. And for them, marriage is too sacred to be rushed or romanticized. What sets them apart in marriage is their constancy. Virgo dogs don't show up in bursts of passion and then disappear when life gets hard. They show up every single day. When they marry, they're not just signing up for the highlights, they're volunteering for the hard parts, the dull parts, the silent stretches, and the long seasons of work and repair that real marriages demand. They become reliable in a way that feels rare in a world of disposable connections. You may not always hear them say, "I love you," but you'll see it in the thousand small things they do to make your life better, from keeping your car tuned up to remembering how you take your morning tea. Their role in a marriage often becomes that of the silent stabilizer. Virgo dogs are planners, organizers, and quiet doers. They may not be the most romantic in the traditional sense, but they offer something far more durable: dependability. They're the ones making the budget spreadsheet while you sleep, booking your doctor's appointment before you ask, or calming you down during an emotional storm without needing to say much. In fact, their love thrives on the invisible, all the things you might not notice, but would sorely miss if they stopped doing. They manage life's logistics so love can have room to breathe. Emotionally, they are cautious but committed. While they may not throw around dramatic declarations or sweep you off your feet, they're rock steady. Virgo dogs understand that true intimacy isn't just romantic, it's practical. It's paying bills on time, showing up at the parent-teacher conference, picking you up from the airport without being asked. They build their love through function. In many ways, they believe that making your life easier is the deepest form of devotion they can offer. Their heart beats through their reliability. But that doesn't mean marriage to them is boring, far from it. Underneath their grounded exterior is a deep desire for shared purpose. Virgo dogs thrive when they're working with their spouse on something meaningful, whether it's raising a family, launching a business, or renovating a home together. They want a partner, not a project. Someone who matches their commitment and who takes the relationship as seriously as they do. They're turned on by responsibility, inspired by effort, and attracted to consistency. When both partners show up equally, that's where their passion lives. Conflict in a marriage with a Virgo dog can be complicated. They're not yellers, they don't like emotional drama, and they loathe open confrontation. Instead, they tend to go quiet, retreating inward, sorting through their feelings alone. They're far more likely to solve problems with action than with discussion. If something's broken, they'll try to fix it behind the scenes before they ever bring it up aloud. While this can make them seem emotionally distant, it's actually a coping mechanism rooted in care. They don't want to fight, they want to restore. But this also means they need a partner who can gently draw them out and remind them that expressing vulnerability is not weakness. At the deepest level, a Virgo dog spouse sees marriage as their life's foundation, the core structure upon which everything else is built. They invest in it like a sacred trust, and when they find someone who honors that trust with the same gravity, they give all of themselves. They won't be the loudest or the flashiest, but they will be the most faithful. Their version of romance is measured in years, not moments. In how tightly they hold you during crisis. In how fully they plan your future together. In how seriously they take your happiness. A Virgo dog doesn't marry for a season, they marry for legacy. Sex. At first glance, you might not expect a Virgo dog to be particularly fiery between the sheets. They carry themselves with a composed, almost reserved demeanor, often more focused on intellectual connection than overt flirtation. But that's only the surface. Beneath their calm exterior lies a deep well of sensuality, not the loud, performative kind, but the intimate, absorbing kind that sneaks up on you and stays with you long after. Their sexuality doesn't shout, it hums. And when they let you into that space, it means they trust you completely, because for Virgo dogs, physical intimacy is never casual. It's intentional, it's sacred. Their approach to sex is driven less by impulse and more by awareness. They don't just want to be good lovers, they want to understand their lovers. Virgo dogs are highly observant in the bedroom. They'll notice what makes your breath hitch, what makes you arch slightly toward them, what makes your muscles relax. They collect data through touch, sound, movement, storing it like a file only they can access. They aim not to impress, but to connect. Every move is thoughtful and often customized uniquely to you. They treat physical intimacy like an art form, and their partner's satisfaction is the masterpiece. Emotional safety is their foreplay. Before anything physical can fully ignite, Virgo dogs need to feel emotionally anchored. They don't do well with surface-level or transactional intimacy. Quick hookups or ambiguous situations leave them cold. They need trust, communication, and emotional closeness to truly open up in bed. But once that connection is established, they can be unexpectedly adventurous, not wild for the sake of it, but willing to explore as long as it feels purposeful and bonding. In the right environment, they shed their reserved image completely and lean into a passionate, slow-burning energy that's both grounded and magnetic. Their sexual rhythm leans toward the slow, sensual, and immersive. Virgo dogs value routines in most areas of life, and the bedroom is no different, but that doesn't mean they're boring. Instead, they become masters of the details. They know what works, and they refine it. That said, they're also quietly open-minded. If their partner communicates a new desire or fantasy, they'll listen, really listen, and consider how to bring it into the relationship in a way that feels safe and respectful for both. They're more about deepening connection than chasing thrills, but they're not afraid of variety if it enhances intimacy. Consent and boundaries are deeply embedded in their sexual code. Virgo dogs are highly sensitive to emotional undercurrents, and they'll never push a partner into anything uncomfortable. They thrive in environments where mutual respect governs the experience. This makes them ideal lovers for people who have experienced past trauma or who require patience. Virgo dogs bring empathy and emotional intelligence into the bedroom. They're attuned, responsive, and incredibly gentle where needed. For them, great sex isn't just about physical pleasure. It's about creating a space where both people feel seen, heard, and cherished. There is also a quiet confidence to the way they express themselves sexually. They don't need praise or theatrics to validate their performance. Their satisfaction comes from watching their partner melt into the moment. That's the affirmation they crave. They might not talk dirty or dominate the room with energy, but they own the experience in a steady, grounding way. They don't strive to be unforgettable, and yet, they often are. Their sexuality is not a spectacle. It's a sanctuary, and for those lucky enough to share that space with them, the memory of it lingers, not because it was wild, but because it was real. Friendship. Having a Virgo dog as a friend is like gaining a quietly devoted bodyguard for your emotional well-being. They may not announce their presence with fanfare, but their loyalty is titanium-grade, durable, unshakable, and deeply dependable. These are the people who will notice the slight change in your tone when you say you're fine, and ask if you really are. They'll check in with a text when no one else remembers what day your big meeting was. Their friendship style is thoughtful, consistent, and incredibly intentional. You may not always see them coming, but they will always be there when it counts. Virgo dogs don't collect friends for clout or comfort, they curate them. Their inner circle is small, often no more than a handful of people, and that's exactly how they like it. They crave friendships that are rooted in mutual trust, depth, and integrity. Casual acquaintances don't become close overnight. You earn their trust through steady, real connection, no need for drama or loud bonding moments. But once you're in, you are in, and their commitment to you runs deep, even if they don't always express it in obvious ways. They're the kind of friend who shows up with soup when you're sick, remembers that your mom's birthday is hard, and stays after everyone else leaves. They have an extraordinary memory for the small details that matter. It's not uncommon for a Virgo dog to remember your favorite childhood snack, your least favorite song, or the story you told them once and forgot you ever shared. This makes them incredibly thoughtful gift givers and empathetic listeners. Their friendship is never performative, it's personal. They don't post about you on social media just to show the world they care. They actually care, and they'll prove it in real time, in real life, in the small but powerful ways that stay with you long after the moment has passed. When it comes to conflict, Virgo dogs tread lightly. They don't enjoy confrontation, but they won't shy away from it if something important is on the line. More often, though, they try to solve problems quietly, gracefully, and with as little emotional damage as possible. They're not passive, they're principled. They'll give you the benefit of the doubt, try to see things from your perspective, and offer the kind of honest advice that cuts through the noise. But push too far, take too much, or cross a boundary too many times, and the shift will be swift. No explosion, no dramatic speeches, just a calm withdrawal that speaks volumes. And make no mistake, betrayal is not taken lightly. Loyalty to a Virgo dog isn't just appreciated, it's expected. If you lie, manipulate, gossip, or abandon them when they need you most, they will remember. And they will leave, not in anger, but in finality. The door doesn't slam, it simply closes permanently. And it won't reopen, no matter how many apologies follow. Their silence isn't spiteful, it's protective. They believe in giving love fully, but only to those who honor it. Once they feel used or disrespected, their friendship evaporates like mist in the sun. You won't see the exit, only feel the absence. But for those who meet their loyalty with loyalty, Virgo dogs are the definition of a ride or die. They'll back you in a room full of doubters, support your dreams even when you don't believe in them, and sit with you in silence during your darkest nights. They don't need to be the center of attention, they'd rather be the anchor in the background, holding everything steady while others drift. Their friendship may be quiet, but it's deeply rooted. And in a world of fair weather connections, they are a rare kind of constant, the kind that feels like home, no matter where life takes you. Business. In the world of business, Virgo dogs are the calm beneath the chaos, the kind of professionals who don't just work hard, they work smart. They aren't driven by the spotlight or the applause, their currency is competence. These individuals are not motivated by ego or the thrill of being the face of anything. Instead, they're obsessed with systems, standards, and solving problems at the root. They approach their careers like craftsmen, measuring twice, cutting once, and never settling for mediocrity. Whether they're fine-tuning operations, building a strategy from scratch, or streamlining a broken process, Virgo dogs lead not with volume but with value. Their strength lies in precision. Virgo dogs have a natural ability to spot inefficiencies and errors that others miss entirely. Their minds are wired for analysis and order, which makes them particularly suited for roles where detail matters more than dazzle. They're not the ones pushing flashy ideas without proof. They want facts, data, and results that speak for themselves. They create long-term solutions, not temporary patches. When they enter a room, things tend to get better, not louder. Their presence is stabilizing, and their ability to predict outcomes makes them indispensable in crisis or growth periods alike. One of the most impressive traits of Virgo dogs in the workplace is their consistency. They're not fueled by adrenaline or ego, they're powered by discipline. You won't see wild highs or dramatic crashes with them, you'll see sustained progress. That's why teams often come to rely on them, even when they're not the loudest voice in the room. They show up on time, prepared, focused, and steady. They do what they say they'll do. And in a world where overpromising is the norm, Virgo dogs underpromise and overdeliver. Their reliability isn't just professional, it's part of their identity. Their leadership style reflects that same quiet control. They don't micromanage or dominate meetings. Instead, they empower their teams through clear expectations, smart systems, and supportive structure. They lead with logic, not volume. And they earn respect not by demanding it, but by demonstrating excellence every single day. Subordinates and colleagues alike often say they feel safe working under or alongside a Virgo dog, because when these individuals are in charge, nothing gets forgotten, and nothing falls apart. They catch mistakes before they become problems, and they know how to make a group of average performers look like an elite unit. Ideal career environments for Virgo dogs are those that value intellect, integrity, and consistency over charisma. Fields like research, law, finance, medicine, engineering, education, logistics, and tech are all great fits. Anywhere that demands structure, analysis, and repeatable success is where they shine. They're especially strong in roles that require solving complex issues with long-term impact: project managers, analysts, strategists, compliance officers, data scientists, or executive assistants. They're not interested in being rock stars. They want to be the ones behind the curtain, making the whole show run without a hitch. But for all their brilliance and dependability, Virgo dogs must keep an eye on their own wellness. Their dedication to perfection can turn into self-imposed pressure that's almost impossible to satisfy. They're the kind who rewrite the report 3 times even when the first version was already perfect. Or who stay late because they just want to double-check one more thing. This drive, while admirable, can lead to chronic stress, fatigue, and burnout. They often don't recognize their own limits until they've long passed them. What they must learn, often the hard way, is that excellence does not require exhaustion. Sometimes, good enough really is enough. And allowing themselves rest is not laziness, it's longevity. Dark sides. Despite their admirable loyalty and deeply grounded presence, Virgo dogs aren't without shadows, and in many ways, their strengths often double as their challenges. One of their most persistent struggles is overthinking. Their minds are constantly in motion, endlessly replaying conversations, reliving mistakes, forecasting worst-case scenarios, and questioning whether they could have done better. While this introspective tendency makes them excellent planners and problem solvers, it can also trap them in mental loops that lead to anxiety, paralysis, or chronic self-doubt. They are their own harshest critics, rarely satisfied with what they've accomplished because they're already focused on what still needs improvement. Their internal pressure to be perfect, to never miss a detail, never fail a friend, never make a misstep, is relentless. It's not driven by vanity or competition, but by a deep need to feel worthy. They often struggle with imposter syndrome, quietly questioning whether they're good enough, despite evidence of success all around them. In professional settings, this can make them push harder than anyone else, but in personal life, it can leave them emotionally exhausted. The same sharp mind that helps them anticipate problems is the same one that convinces them they are the problem, especially when things go wrong. This pursuit of perfection doesn't just affect how they view themselves, it colors their relationships too. Virgo dogs set high standards, not only for themselves but for others. They believe in effort, loyalty, honesty, and emotional maturity, and they expect those values to be mutual. When people fall short, flaking on plans, making selfish choices, or being inconsistent, Virgo dogs might not confront them outright. Instead, they slowly detach. To outsiders, it can seem like they're judgmental or emotionally cold, but it's really about protection. They'd rather pull away than risk ongoing disappointment or betrayal. Their standards are meant to safeguard their peace, even if it means narrowing their circle. A major source of their inner conflict stems from their habit of bottling emotions. Virgo dogs are not naturally expressive about their feelings, particularly when it comes to sadness, frustration, or vulnerability. They don't want to burden others, and they certainly don't want to be seen as needy or dramatic. So, they internalize. They smile through pain, downplay disappointment, and tell themselves they're just tired, or overthinking it. But this emotional self-containment can lead to a deep sense of isolation. They often feel alone even when surrounded by people who care, not because no one's trying, but because they've built emotional walls so carefully no one knows how to climb them. This isolation becomes most evident when they feel hurt. Virgo dogs don't rage, explode, or lash out. They disappear. When betrayed or deeply disappointed, they tend to withdraw entirely. You won't get a fight or a dramatic goodbye. They'll simply vanish from your life, deleting their presence quietly, like erasing a file from a computer, clean and final. To them, this isn't pettiness or punishment. It's self-defense. If they can't trust you, they can't afford to let you stay. Their silence is their form of closure, even if it leaves others stunned and confused. They won't offer a second chance, not because they're unforgiving, but because reopening a wound feels far more dangerous than walking away. Another shadow they rarely show is how easily they burn out. Because Virgo dogs are so determined to be dependable and so focused on getting things right, they rarely ask for help. They carry the load quietly, often taking on more than they should, whether it's at work, in friendships, or in family dynamics. Over time, this self-imposed pressure builds into emotional fatigue. They won't usually complain or break down publicly, but they may suddenly go radio silent, drop out of commitments, or seem emotionally absent. This isn't them giving up, it's them running on empty. Unfortunately, by the time anyone notices, they're often already in deep emotional shutdown mode. Lastly, Virgo dogs can sometimes veer into the territory of quiet resentment. Because they don't always voice their needs or frustrations, they expect others to just know. And when others don't meet that unspoken standard, the Virgo dog may quietly start keeping score. Over time, unaddressed grievances build up, and while they'll likely never explode, they may grow cold, distant, and subtly critical. This emotional retreat can be confusing to those around them who never realized something was wrong. The truth is, Virgo dogs often don't know how to ask for more, they just hope someone will notice they're giving too much and receiving too little. The dark side of a Virgo dog is never chaotic or cruel, it's quiet, contained, and deeply internalized. Their battles are invisible to most, fought in silence, with a stoicism that often hides the depth of their hurt. But when understood and supported, these individuals are capable of extraordinary growth. They simply need spaces where they can lay down their armor, even briefly, and be reminded that vulnerability is not weakness, it's part of being whole. Life goals. For Virgo dogs, life isn't about conquering stages, collecting trophies, or broadcasting success. It's about refining, serving, and elevating themselves, others, and the spaces they touch. They're not here to rule the world, they're here to repair it. Their ambition is not loud or ego-driven. It's methodical, focused, and deeply personal. They don't chase attention, but they crave effectiveness. When they look ahead, they don't see power, they see purpose. Their ultimate desire is not to be envied, but to be essential in ways that bring order, healing, or meaning into the lives of others. Their relationship with ambition is nuanced. Virgo dogs don't define success by wealth or visibility. Instead, they ask, did I help? Did I build something that lasted? Did I make it better? Whether they're cleaning up a workplace system, mentoring a younger colleague, or quietly transforming the dynamics of their home, their sense of fulfillment comes from knowing their presence added value. They're not interested in hollow titles or showy achievements. They want substance, real change, real growth, and tangible proof that their work, time, and love meant something. Because they're wired for service and structure, Virgo dogs often gravitate toward roles or paths that allow them to contribute to a higher cause. They're drawn to teaching, medicine, design, social work, writing, psychology, craftsmanship, anything where precision meets purpose. These individuals feel most alive when they're solving real problems, mending broken systems, or helping people function better. Even in corporate or tech environments, they're the ones pushing for ethical practices, efficient models, and meaningful innovation. They want their effort to count, and they don't stop until it does. But unlike more driven-to-win personalities, Virgo dogs don't need to own the mission. They don't need their name on the building. They're often the humble force behind successful outcomes, content with being the system that keeps the engine running. They prefer collaborative progress over solo glory. What they're seeking is not applause but impact. They want to know they left something, or someone, in better condition than they found it. Whether they're parenting, writing code, planting a garden, or building a business, they're asking the same question: is this meaningful? If it's not, they'll quietly walk away, no matter how profitable or prestigious it might be. Their vision of an ideal life is striking in its simplicity. Virgo dogs want peace more than excitement, order more than adventure, and depth more than speed. A loving, respectful partner. A career that challenges their mind and aligns with their ethics. A home that's calm, warm, and filled with intention. They don't need a mansion. They want a space that reflects who they are, clean, comforting, and functional. They don't need a high-octane lifestyle filled with constant stimulation. They want time to think, time to build, and time to care for the people and projects that truly matter to them. Still, beneath their composed exterior lies a relentless inner engine. Virgo dogs might look like they're taking life slowly, but internally, they're always analyzing, improving, and striving. They're not content to coast. Even their rest has purpose. A lazy weekend is spent organizing, reading, or planning, not because they don't know how to relax, but because they genuinely enjoy growth and self-betterment. They may never crave chaos, but they are constantly evolving. Their idea of success isn't a finish line, it's a lifelong process of learning and refining. Mastery, for them, is never final. It's something to reach for, day by day. Ultimately, Virgo dogs want a life that means something, not just to them, but to the world around them. They want to be remembered not for the noise they made, but for the peace they created, the lives they touched, and the standards they quietly raised. Their legacy won't be measured in headlines. It'll live in the people they helped, the systems they improved, the children they nurtured, and the work they did with humility and grace. In a world that often rewards spectacle, Virgo dogs are a gentle, powerful reminder. Lasting impact begins with quiet intention. So who are Virgo dogs, really? They're the quiet warriors of the zodiac. The ones who show up, day after day, rain or shine. Their power doesn't come from flash, it comes from faithfulness. In love, in friendship, in purpose, they are consistent, devoted, and deeply human. Their life is a slow burn, but once you feel their warmth, you'll never forget it. Enjoyed this character dive? Share it with a Virgo dog in your life and see if it resonates. And don't forget, if you're into zodiac signs, character psychology, or anything in between, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and check out the links in the description for other deep dives. See you in the next one.